I'm the fabulous Gilly, the high priest of sport, and I want to have a heart-to-heart with Canadiens coach Jacques Martin. Jacques, you've been coaching in this league for years. You're an experienced hockey man, a systems guy. In fact, if you helped out with the communist system, would still be there today. But Jacques, not everything is a system. Not everything is defense, and that's the way you've been coaching all these years. It doesn't matter if you're playing a defensive team or an offensive team. Everything is the same way. It doesn't change. Why don't you just do a little good old-fashioned hockey? We don't have to use all the fancy terms of today, getting the cycling game going. We got to cycle down low. I mean, just send 2 forecheckers in deep and check the hell out of the other team, Jacques. Even the big Z can't take that kind of pressure. In Ottawa, now in Boston, under that kind of pressure, he's prone to making bad passes, coughing up the puck. But you always let the opposing team come out of their own end so easily because you don't see a Canadian sweater till almost center ice. You can't wait to get back into your own end to defend. And Jacques, I know you tell your D, keep it simple. Chip it off the wall. Keep chipping it off the wall, another overused word. But Jacques, you can keep chipping away all night. The reason you're stuck in your end 25, 30, 35 seconds at a time, because you don't get your wingers out on the boards to cut off the puck. It goes back to the opposing defenseman, and they just keep firing it back in there. Like it happened against Washington in the first round of the playoffs last year. They were getting 80, 90 shots into our end. 45, 50 them on the net. But you don't get a performance like Halleck gave last year. Maybe once every 10, 15 years you'll see something like that. So as good as Price is, it's not going to work this year. I don't want to hear that you outcoached Boudreau and Balsma. Nobody outcoached anybody. Like I said, it was an unbelievable goaltending performance. That was the difference. And Jacques, only bad things happen when the puck's on you in your end of the ice 60, 65% of the time. Screenshots, deflections. The guys start to get desperate. They start taking dumb penalties. And Jacques, just let your guys play the game. Hockey's a reflex game. Stop making it into football. You have to be 3 feet here or 4 feet over there. Let them get into the other team's end. Sometimes on 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s, they're rushing off the ice so they dump the puck in because you have to roll your 4 lines. And they're not allowed on the ice for more than 30 seconds or whatever. And Jacques, start developing your young players. Stop being so hard on them. You know, give them a chance when they come out of junior or from the American League, coming to the NHL. They've scored goals. They make plays at the other levels. Don't take that away from them because everything has to be defense, defense. There was a pretty good coach in the old days by the name of Hector Toe Blake, who had Ivan Cornway when he came up as a high-scoring junior. At times he used him only on the power play in that first year. He let him get that confidence that he could score at the NHL level. And little by little he taught him about defensive responsibilities. The same way was Jacques Lemaire, came in as a high-scoring junior player. Big shot. Didn't hassle him about defense. But within a very short time, the next few years, he became one of the best two-way centers in the game. Jacques, you got to start handling things a little differently. And also, Jacques, I know you're getting a little bored of this here. You don't want to hear anymore. Well, let me tell you something. Jacques, start showing a little emotion behind that bench. Sometimes I look at you. Why do I get the feeling you look like a guy standing on the corner watching a funeral procession go by? I mean, thank God that you take out that notepad 5, 6 times a game to scribble something where I say, look, he moves, he's alive. And Jacques, a player has a good shift or two, especially a young player. There's nothing wrong with walking down the bench. Give him a little pat on the shoulder. There's nothing wrong with that. And if a player isn't doing well, has 2 or 3 bad shifts, is not responding, not putting out, walk over, give him a little stooge upside the helmet. Or if that doesn't do it, when you get him in the dressing room between periods, put the boots to his arse. And Jacques, in closing, when I'm up here in Montreal, I run into a lot of old-timers who remember the old days, the Flying Frenchman, of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Now I know, Jacques, we don't have those kind of players today. We have very little offensive talent. But whatever we do have, Jacques, let them be creative. Let them play the game. Most of these kids have been playing since they're 5, 6 years old. Put away the blackboard. Enough with the X's and O's. Let them play. And Jacques, just remember, a lot of these old timers aren't going to be around that much longer. You know, the good Lord will soon be calling them up there to hillbilly heaven. They'll be cashing in their chips. Let them remember a bit about the old days. He'll be back next year and his legend will burn in sports annals near and far. For there's no greater star in our national game than Morris the Rocket Richard. Make it happen, Jacques, 'cause if not, it's gonna burn my ass!